Okay. So Someday is basically the song that opens the album. I think it opens the album very beautifully. It was produced by Ishi. The chorus was written originally by Eric Turner, and he sung it beautifully. But after listening to it and after writing all my bits for the song, I felt it would be a lot nicer with like a female vocal on it, and I felt like it would be nicer if it was like a young, new British voice on it as well, because that's everything that I want to represent, like new, young and British. And so I thought Ella Air was perfect for that, and I feel like she's proved herself now on the Rudimental record. And Someday is just basically, what's the word? You know when you're just thinking out loud and you're just thinking, do you know what, like, it's time to get back to work, but that thing that I'm still dreaming about achieving and that place of that point of happiness is not too far away. And like one day I'm gonna find that place and I'll get there. And that is basically everything that the song's about. So I feel like it opens the album very nicely. And then I come in just basically letting people know that I'm back, letting people know in what position I am and how I'm feeling. You know, I definitely feel like I come across as very confident. You know, like I say, never in denial because the Nile is the river. Rappers on the slide trying to eye my elixir. Jealousy's a crime, bet your pride won't resist ya. Like all this kind of stuff. So basically just very self-aware. Like it's a very self-aware moment. All right, cool, I'm back. I know where you guys see me. I know where I see myself at. This is my intention. This is my own personal goal, my own personal dream to reach this place, this metaphorical place in the sun, which is my happiness. And that's basically it. So Trampoline is basically a reintroduction into the world of music. I was away for like 2 or 3 years. I had a few songs that came out in between, you know, like Calvin Harris, Drinking from the Bottle, R.I.P. with Rita Ora, Earthquake with Labyrinth, hits with Chasing State. There's so many things in between, but I hadn't actually brought out anything myself. So Trampoline was almost like that. Hello guys, I'm back. And it's just very feel-good. It's like a form of escapism. It's a song that is very much intended for a club environment. It's definitely intended to the female audience as well as the male audience. And it's basically me just saying, hi, I'm back. In case, you know, you've forgotten, this is who I am. This is where I'm at right now in my life. And I've just come here to make you guys have a good time. That is what Trampoline is about. And it was produced by Diplo, who's one of my favorite producers at the minute. And 2 Chainz as well is a rapper who I feel like, you know, he's killing everything he touches at the minute, and in a very unpredictable way. You never know what 2 Chainz is gonna say. He's not a predictable rapper in that sense, you know. It could be as outlandish, or it could be as gangster, or it could be as, you know, female-driven as anyone else, and you never know at what angle he's gonna come from. So whereby the beat was so random and the song was so random, I felt like he'd be a perfect artist to kind of jump on it and just, you know, add that little bit more of that kind of randomness into the song. And that's basically how it all came together. Okay, so Don't Sell Out was produced by Ballistic, and it has guest vocals from Candice Pillay. Why I really like this song is it samples a Tamil song called Kausala, and Sri Lankans are very much a part. This is what people don't understand. You know, when you're from London, you're around so many different cultures. So Sri Lankans are very much a part of the London-centric culture. You know, as much as you know, you could hear this sound in Sri Lanka, you could hear this sound in East London. You know, on a certain day. So that's why I really like this record. And basically, when I was thinking about this album, I was thinking a lot about where I was at and how amazing it was that from where I'd come from, I'd got to the place where I'm doing arenas and traveling around the world. And then I thought about the stigma that kind of comes with that. You know, it's very easy at that stage in your career for people to be able to be like, oh, you're a sellout, man, because you're not here with us anymore. You're off doing your own thing. You're like big. You're in the mainstream world. So I thought But then I've always thought, as just a regular person, that the term selling out was a very, it's a term that's too easily used with not enough thought. I think people are quick to throw around that phrase, oh, it's a sellout, man. If someone, you know, like, I don't know, Van Persie goes to a different team, oh, he's a sellout, he's a sellout. It's almost seems like people don't think about what they're saying, but he's moving on in his career, is he not? He's moving on to better things. He's probably going to get more opportunities, maybe a shot at Champions League. He's probably going to get a bigger pay packet. He's making progress, you know, he's making progress. Sellout. Anyone can be a sellout. If you move companies, if you work, you know, say if you work at Microsoft and then you go to Apple. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, the term is too loosely thrown around. And then I feel like sometimes, yeah, if I'm being honest, it can almost be like a hindrance, because I feel like some people are too overconscious of the phrase, and therefore it kind of holds them back, especially if you want to talk about urban music, especially if you want to talk about rap, and especially if you want to talk about British urban artists and rap. Like, I definitely think people are too scared of that term and of that phrase, and sometimes it's their Achilles heel, and it's the thing that ends up kind of holding them back and not enabling them to fulfill their full potential. So I'm looking to go all the way with taking the mick out of that phrase, because I think the phrase just needs to someone needs to rephrase it and think of something else now, because sellout is too loosely used to me. Like, what does it even mean? It's Okay featuring Labyrinth. Yeah, this is personally one of like my favourite tracks on the album, because it's so unexpected, and especially of me and Labyrinth. It's a little bit slow. You know, I talk into a lot of detail about a relationship, infidelity, if you will. Yeah, basically it's just about talking about a girl getting to the point where she's had the last straw, which, you know, as anybody can imagine, in my life, with this kind of get up and go kind of lifestyle, here, there and everywhere, anytime you're in any sort of relationship with someone, you know, there's a little bit of pressure and stress that gets put on your relationship because of how quick everything moves. So this is moving like that, but still thinking that you could have your cake and eat it, to the point where she feels nothing, you know. And I feel like that's always the scariest part of a relationship, because you can break up with someone and you can know that they still want you and you still want them. But when someone actually feels nothing, that's a completely different thing, you know. So I basically just took like a combination of a few relationships which I felt had got to that point. I actually wrote this one in Jamaica, so I was able to kind of just really take my time on it and just think about what I wanted to say. And yeah, that's basically the whole kind of vibe of the song and what it means. And it's definitely, unlike my first album, it's definitely one of those songs where I've opened myself a little bit more. I've spoken a little bit more depth. I've spoke about feeling hurt and feeling out of control, which is not something that people will be used to hearing me speak about or hearing me speak in that kind of way. And for that reason as well, I love that record. So Mosh Pit was produced by Rick Rock, and then it had some additional production from British producers, just to kind of get the authenticity. You know, it's a song that has elements of hip hop in it. It's a song that has elements of dubstep in it. So just to get that authenticity, I'm one of those people who like I go down to every detail. So I even believe that somebody could hear it and just because it was produced by an American be like, you know, how can it be authentic if it was made by an American who's trying to make this type of sound? So I felt like even just by putting a little bit of additional production by British people, it would add to the vibe and to the feel and to the authenticity of the record. Features Dizzy, one of the most kind of monumental moments for me on the record. Again, because I feel like we hear Dizzy in his rawest form and rawer than I've heard him for a very long time, personally. And it takes me back to how I used to hear Dizzy when I was 12 years old. So that excitement is all in that record for that reason. And it's just a moment of madness, moment of anarchy. You know, anybody who's seen my live show will know that it's a very energetic one. This one fits perfectly into the set, and it's all about just losing yourself and just going crazy. You know, I talk about some of my ambitions on this song. So did my thing up at the Brits, and now I'm eyeing up the Grammys. You know, I put it out there. It's one of those records where you flex. You know, living kind of lavish. Fashion week in Milan, fashion week in Paris. Every day I'm fucking someone different on my mattress. I'll be one night standing, I ain't trying to be romantic. Yeah, they call me tiny, but I'm about to be gigantic. It's a madness every single time I'm landing back in Stansted. It's just kind of like fresh, swagger, like a lot of swagger, a lot of, you know, swag talk. And yeah, it's just basically for people to literally mosh out. When T.Y. Dolla $ign comes in and does what he does best, which is, you know, a great top line, a great vocal, a great hook to give it a lift. The drop is a crazy kind of British dubstep drop. So it's the best of all kind of worlds. And like Ty Dolla $ign at the minute is killing it in America. He's someone who's new and fresh. So it's the balance between Dizzy, who is like a household name, he's been around for a long time, new, fresh American talent, America mixed with British production, and me. So yeah, that's one of my favorite records as well. And bro, man, like when I heard it, I was just like, sometimes, yeah, it's more about, because I had 2 verses on that song and then I took off one for Dizzy to do that. And then when he did that, at first, obviously, I'm a Dizzy fan, so I was just like, this is fucking amazing, And then I started thinking about it and I was like, all right, cool, so Dizzy's coming after me on this and he's done that. And then I was thinking, sometimes it's just about having a crazy song that moves in a linear way like that all the way to the end, more so than anything else. Like, when you look at music and the conversation of music, there's only gonna be like a certain demographic of people who have a kind of conversation. Who do you think did this? Who do you think went harder? You know, I think what this track shows is, it shows that me and Dizzy are worlds apart and are very different as artists. You know, and I think it also shows that, you know, you know, sometimes it's about a song and what a song can make you do. And I feel like Mosh Pit is one of those songs that goes like that all the way to the end, And that's very rare sometimes, you know. So yeah, I love the song and I love everything about it. Okay. So Looking Down the Barrel was produced by Tom Rowlands from the Chemical Brothers. Really amazing moment on the album for me. On the last album, Discovery, I had this song called Obsession, where I like just said literally random things, like I think my reflection is relatively jealous of me, like just mad things that just didn't, I was thinking them in my brain, but I didn't necessarily think anyone would understand what I was saying. I just wanted to say it. And this is that same kind of, you know, a track that's in a similar vein. So stolen from the wild and released into captivity. So when I'm near the public too long, I act fidgety, act liberties and have to take my yak to liberties to stop that crazy bitch trying to snap my black dick off me. Like just weird stuff. Like conceived because no one used the condom or the pill, but was welcome with open arms, like the statue that's in Brazil. Mummy knew I'd be expensive, so she nearly called me Bill, as in like a bill. Daddy thought that the stress would kill him, so he nearly called me Will. Like just weird things. And yeah, I just thought because of how much of a daring producer Tom Rowlands is, and the Chemical Brothers, they've always been known to be innovative and do fresh and exciting things. I felt like getting the opportunity to work with him on this record, that was the sort of track I wanted to do, something that was weird and abstract. And then even the way he's mixed it, because he mixed it with someone else, which I thought was really cool as well. And there's so many sound effects that come out, you know, when I say, you know, these journalists can be fucking lions, tigers, and bears. There's like a little lion sound that kind of comes out, and it almost feels quite 3D in the way that it kind of just pops out sonically. So very, very fun record, and I'd say probably the weirdest record on the album. So Witch Doctor is produced by Alex the Kid. Candice Pillay makes another appearance on this record. And Witch Doctor is just the moment where, you know, they always say what happens on tour stays on tour. This is just the moment where I kind of bear all and just tell a story, one particular story for people, just for people's imaginations, of one girl who I just met, and she kind of followed me after a show on the tour bus throughout the duration of the whole tour, and how her perception of me was, and how, you know, like, she said she wants to get up on that rapper shit, popping bottles, stuffing money under mattresses. She's been on my tour bus since I picked her up at Hammersmith. Like, how her perception of what it is to be me, and how much she just wanted a part of that, you know. So yeah, it's one of those songs where I when I was making it, I really personally loved that. That's one of my favorite songs as well. But I remember when I was writing it and I was thinking, how are people gonna kind of take this, you know? But I definitely feel like when I'm talking about our generation, which is what I feel like I've tried to do a lot of in demonstration, you have to talk about the different types of people that you come across. So not everybody is the same. Not every man that you come across is going to be the same. Not every woman. You're not going to go out with every woman. They're not going to be someone who you felt could have been your wife, or, you know, someone who you go for a bad breakup with. Some people you're going to meet are just there for the heat of the moment, and it's very much just about what they want from you and what you want from them. And that is a very honest part of youth culture today, do you get what I mean? So this is just one of those situations where it happened on tour, and yeah, I just felt like I should talk about it. Okay, so Shape featuring Big Sean was produced by Diplo. Definitely something that I was inspired by, just, you know, being around in America, going to strip clubs, which, you know, is just a part of regular American culture, which is something that I didn't expect, you know. And yeah, just having a record that was purely dedicated to girls, but that wasn't a like love song or wasn't a breakup song, you know, just an appreciation of the female sex, you know. And you know, anybody who will know me well, you know, one thing I love about a girl is a shape, you know, a girl's body shape. And I just felt like it would be kind of clever because it is something that can make people dance. When you dance, they say you throw shapes as well. And so I just felt like it'd be nice to kind of compliment a girl on an amazing physique. And that's exactly what it's about. You know, I knew you was the one, if I even saw your face, you know, that kind of thing. And then Big Sean comes on there and kills it. He's somebody who I've been friends with for a little while now. He was also on my Happy Birthday mixtape. We did a song, which was again just a random song, and he really like has been really good to me in terms of like being out in America and having somebody who I can talk to and who definitely hells me up out there. So he's been great for that. So I'm very happy and proud that he's a part of this record. And it's a slow kind of record, very much influenced by that whole kind of like LA kind of slower hip hop, you know, but just with my own British spin on it. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting record for people, and I can't wait to hear what people think about that record. Lover Not a Fighter, realistically, to me, if I'm being entirely honest, it's me just speaking to my peers and speaking to my, you know, contemporaries. Is it real, is it fake? Somebody give me a break. I grew up on minimum wage and I grew up in an estate. Rappers calling me bruv and they can't even relate. I'd even ready and willing to do anything that it takes. Like, so it's basically me. I'm in this record a lot. I'm kind of just talking directly to my peers and letting them know that, guys, man, like, I'm not your enemy. I'm not somebody who you should be watching and feeling a way about. Like, I'm just here trying to be the best me I can be. Like, do you, whatever you're doing, I wish you all the best. I'm here I'm a lover. Like, I've not come to fight no one. I don't want anyone to look at me in a way where they feel bad or they feel a way about my success, or, you know, they feel like they'd rather it be them and not me. Like, enjoy it. Let this inspire you to kind of get what you're getting. No one's stopping you from getting what you want to get. Do you get what I mean? So while I'm here and I'm trying to do things that's going to move us forward and move the way people perceive this music forward, enjoy it, man. I come in peace, you know? That's what that record is about. Okay, so A Heart Can Save the World features Emily Sande. It was produced by Naughty Boy. And yeah, to be quite honest with you, there's a few things I say. Yeah, there's definitely a few things I say, like, Kofi, tell the UN we need an immigrant mob full of blacks, full of virus, full of women and dogs. We need a million-man march, only a million can stop. Who's gonna come and save the world, make sure the villains are got. Tell Mr. Cameron and Oprah, the people unemployed and they don't know who to vote for. We need a voice bigger than Mariah or Leona, a hero, a soldier. I think we need a donor, Heart Can Save the World, and then Emily comes in. So yeah, it's just me touching on a few more of those things, kind of ever so slightly, and everything that I kind of said before, in the sense that, this whole album is making, the intention of this album, is for people to kind of find that hero or that star or that ambitious person inside of themselves, I think we're in a modern day society where people are heavily reliant on everyone else or what everyone else thinks, or people always want to conform to what they think is cool and what they think is right. But sometimes, in order for you to get to where you need to get to, you need to not conform, and you need to break away from that. And you need to, in order to be able to do that, you need self-belief. And I think like we're in a generation where a lot of people don't really necessarily have that. Even when you just look at, reality TV is something that really makes me think that. And to think that, a lot of people feel like you can just become famous off the back of like just being on TV and doing crazy things, to get people's attentions. So hopefully this song kind of focuses on people finding their self-worth and self-belief in themselves, and just reminding people that even in a literal sense as well, obviously you can make change just as an individual. It's not necessarily going to be easy, and you won't necessarily be able to do it on your own, but by believing that you can and by actively going out there to kind of make a change on your own, you might be able to inspire someone else who inspires someone else who inspires someone else. And that is what that song is called, A Heart. And that's why that's what that song is about, and that's why it's called A Heart Can Save the World. So yeah, Tears Run Dry is produced by Krada. He's a German producer who worked a lot on Drake's first record. I think he made Fireworks with Alicia Keys. It features Sway Clark, who is Canadian and works very closely with Krada. And this is probably like the most emotional record on the album, in the sense that I'm really kind of opening myself up and talking about how fame has affected certain aspects of my life and certain dynamics of my life, i.e. The dynamic between my parents, and just, the way money has affected things and the perception of how well I'm doing as opposed to how I'm actually doing, and how that can, get into people's heads, that is something that's definitely kind of affected the dynamic between me and my parents, who are of course great. How it's affected the dynamics between me and females, like I say something about still having a damier canvas case of the ex. Said there was too much on your plate, but it wasn't that. Heard she, I talk about giving my number to a girl's sister that I know, and heard she gave it to you, you never even hollered back. Said there was too much on your plate, but it wasn't that. It was like an email with a file, you just got attached. And the way kind of girls, because of your fame, they feel like they're never really getting to know you, and so it kind of just pushes them away from you. So how fame has kind of affected my interaction with girls and the relationships I get in. And then finally on the third verse, how my fame and the situation that I'm in has affected even my relationships and the way my peers, people who have come from the same genre of music as I have, feel about what I'm doing, And this was just a moment on the record to kind of just vent and get it all out and say it, and almost like forever hold your peace type thing. So yeah, that's the record I chose to do that. And then it's got this really like amazing third verse where the energy goes up and it gets a little bit more kind of rocky. There's live guitars that kind of come in, and I'm going for it and I'm shouting, They say I used to have it, but they say I used to have it, guess I got it back. They said I fucking lost it, guess I got it back. The pot can't call the kettle black. Here's a double shot of pride, swallow that. Like, really, really feeling kind of like myself and where I'm at the minute, and just feeling the fact that, you know, I feel like I deserve to be here, you know. So that record is very honest. Right, so Lost Ones is produced by Naughty Boy. It features Paloma Faith, and is again a breakup record, but unlike OK, it focuses on more of a different experience with a girl who, let's just say, like, she was in a very similar situation to mine. So obviously there was a certain level of value that she just felt like she had as much as I did, you know, which is, you know, fair enough. So obviously when we got to the point of not wanting to be with each other anymore, it's almost like we were both walking away saying, you know what, like, you're gonna miss out because I think I'm great. And then she's saying, well, you're gonna miss out because I think I'm great. Do you get what I mean? So that's basically what Lost Ones is about. And just talking about the experience and, you know, how, you know, I was very happy for you when great things were happening in your career, but now we're arguing and it's not nice anymore, and we're out and we're arguing in front of people, and, you know, I don't feel comfortable around you, and now I'm somewhere where I'm in a happier place, you know, so you've missed out. And then in the chorus, Paloma Faith is acting as that girl, isn't actually that girl, but she's kind of taken on the role as that girl, and she's just like, you know what, you're just a guy, you're never going to understand, but you've missed out on something good. And that's what Lost One is about. And I feel like I had to have those two different kind of records, breakup records on there, you know, for both sides of the spectrum, because not every breakup ends with infidelity. Do you get what I mean? It's not always that because you've been with someone else, you must break up. Sometimes you just get to a point where, you know, you just don't feel like you should be together, and you still feel like, you know, they're going to be the one who's missing out on what you've got. So that's why that record is on there. And again, I love that record a lot. Yes, right. So Heroes, again, is one of my favorite records. It was produced by Naughty Boy. It features Lauren Wheeler. And yeah, it's just amazing. In the same vein as A Heart Can Save the World and Children of the Sun, it's almost that search for the hero inside yourself. Everybody can be a hero. And we all have a second chance. You know, this is not the be-all and end-all. Someone not too long ago told me that, you know, I asked them if they were happy, and then they said to me, you know, yeah, I'm really happy. I said, why are you really happy? And he goes, oh, I'm happy because I'm alive. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, well, when you're alive, it means you still have time. You still have time to right the wrongs. You still have time to make things right, you know. And that is basically what that song is about. Like, no matter what, anyone can be a hero, and everyone is a hero in their own right. You just need to find that in yourself, and you just need to be brave in your approach to life. And you can be a hero for yourself or for the people that you're around, you know, and that it's never ever too late, ever. 5 Minutes was produced by Zane Lowe, was mixed by Rob Swire as well, which was very amazing. I'm a big fan of his. And yeah, 5 Minutes is literally a 5-minute long record of just rapping the whole way through. And yeah, it's just basically like a feel-good record, you know. When I think about it, it kind of, I picture it to be in a kind of festival environment, you know, a lot of British references, you know, tell anybody my age, pedal on, foot on the pedal, tell Jeremy Clarkson, anybody my age to drive a Porsche like this. The last verse I really love, you know, wake up in the morning and I smell my breath. I could have had to be going to work instead. F a silly contract, I'll return a check. When you was trying to make money, did you earn respect? Cause Sidney Poitier made me walk like this, and Star Wars made me use the Force like this. When you're effing busy having dinner with stars, you better start eating with your knife and fork like this. So it's very like, again, just me, like me just talking and saying what I think. Obviously a lot of kind of witty lines, a lot of British references. I love the line when I say, you know, she asked me why I never let a girl try on my shades, because they keep on effing getting hair on my tortoise shells. So just sort of like loads of little different clever things like that. And yeah, just a feel-good kind of concept record, high intensity. At the end, it literally explodes at 5 minutes. So the song is like 5 minutes and a few seconds, because you can hear like where all the little shrapnel is coming out of the explosion. And yeah, just a very fun record, and a record that I was able to create with someone who I respect their musical taste and I respect, you know, their musical influence. And yeah, it just turned out to be a great conceptual record, and one I've never really done before. So I felt like I was really challenging myself on that record.